There we go. Alright, I have to redo this video because I don't know if my audio was quiet the entire time, so I'm hoping by wearing these headphones, I'm hoping that maybe my audio will be better. I don't know. But I just went over talking about the Ludian theory, which it's a video I've done before where I mentioned Lud's descendants in the Bible. If you don't know Lud, he was one of the sons of Shem, mentioned in chapter 10, verse 20, chapter 10, verse 21 of in Genesis, and mentioned in other parts of the Bible. Him and then his descendants are also mentioned in other parts of the Bible, either being worshippers of God or something like that, or whatever the case with them is with the Lutz descendants, as being good with bows and arrows and stuff, skilled with bows and arrows and such. Sorry about that. Anyway, the Ludian theory, ironically, has to do with Lut's descendants. How do I start this video again? Hopefully I can make it shorter than it was last time. Still. But when it came down to Lud's descendants, scientists found, the theory of mine is that the Spanish and the Italians also descend from Lud or have a genetic connection to Lud, which it does sound a bit far-fetched, but the thing about that is discoveries, research, or I did some research and I learned some discoveries that other people had or other people made, and then I learned some historical type of knowledge from the Apocrypha, or at least one of the uncanonized books in the Bible, such as the Book of Jubilees, which I'm going to get into that in a moment. But when it came down, how do I start this? Well, I guess you already know the basics. Lud is one of the descendants, the sons of Shem. Mentioned him and his descendants are mentioned numerous amounts of times, or I think 6 times in the Bible. Good with archery and all that stuff, so forth and so on. But when it comes down to his descendants, it turns out that Lud's descendants, I think they've been tracked down. It's just that scientists haven't really discovered that yet. That is, if they even do so, or if they discovered or even acknowledge it. All things considered on that part. The reason why I say that is because scientists discovered that when it came down to the Italians and the Spanish, or the peninsula that they live on, Italy and Spain, turns out that the first settlers were Anatolian farmers, in Neolithic times. That would be the very beginning of humanity itself. But in Neolithic times, it turns out that the first settlers of Spain and Italy were Anatolian farmers. So when it came down to it, they hailed or came from Anatolia, or originated from Anatolia. If you don't know where Anatolia is, that's modern day Turkey. But I call it Anatolia because it makes much more sense. But when it comes down to the genetic stuff, let's just say I have a theory that has a lot of merit to it, and it's the Ludian theory, where Lud's descendants were, and the Anatolian farmers were Lud's descendants. Now that'd be pretty far-fetched if I didn't have any proof or anything, but the proof is Book of Jubilees. Book of Jubilees was a book written but not canonized by a church or whatever. It had to do with after the flood, what happened after Noah's sons had sons and so forth and so on. Excuse me. Yeah, but no. When it came down to Lud's descendants, it turns out that let's just say in the Book of Jubilees they were given land. The land that some of the descendants are mentioned, not all of them, but some of them. When it came down to Lud's descendants, or Lud and his descendants, he was given Anatolia, Didn't say Anatolia, but the description it gives matches up in alignment with Anatolia's thing, especially with Ashur receiving the mountains of Ashur and all the way to the Great Sea. And then across from his portion, Javan, one of Japheth's descendants, got a portion of land as well, which would be associated with Greece. Especially since I found it like right in the Bible. Sorry, point cases. That's the theory. So that's my proof right there of the theory that the Anatolian farmers that inhabited Italy, that inhabited Spain, or first inhabited Italy, or not inhabited in Italy, but the settled in Italy and Spain were Ludians, or related to Lud in some sense, genetically related to Lud to some sense. And again, the proof. It's like, well, what proof do I have backwards? What is the genetic proof? Well, exactly that. The discovery that scientists made with the Anatolian farmers, how the first settlers of Spain and Italy were Anatolian farmers. I should probably say it right now. People are like, because I can imagine some person like some Turkish nationalist saying like, oh, Turks first inhabited Spain and Italy. Nope, definitely not the case. Turkey didn't enter the land until 1071 AD. They were never in the land of Anatolia to begin with until post 1071 AD, which meant they only were in the land for 950 years. 54, 55, 56, one of those three dates. Not even 1,000. So the whole idea, so I know some Turkish nationalists would push the idea that, oh, well, Turkey inhabited everything. Nope, definitely not the case. It was the Anatolian farmers, or Lud's descendants, as I call them. Crazy thing is, I think even some year last I looked, I'm sorry, I don't know if it's, I don't know. Even some European populations even like showed to be like genetically related to Lud himself, or to the Ludians, Anatolian farmers, whichever one you want to go with. That's really just a theory. I came up with this map that I showed last time, or last recording. If you don't know, it's the, hold on. There we go. You got the map right there. And then you got on the other side, which I drew, kind of my theory to kind of simplify everything there. Gosh dang it, sorry. But shine a light through it. Sorry about that. And you get the map. My map of the whole Ludian case drawn out on a map. I don't know how many will be able to see it, all things considered. Maybe this might help. Yeah, that helps a lot. I wonder how many people from my church are going to call me blasphemy or blasphemous just because I'm doing this video. I don't care. I could care less anymore. Well, no, not really. But still, the point, I know it's a day, but I need to have the light on so that it's not too dark, unfortunately. But yeah. Anyway, that's really the whole case of my whole Ludian theory. The genetic evidence or discoveries that scientists made with the Neolithic times, Anatolian farmers. The Book of Jubilees describing how Lud had the land of Anatolia or inhabited the land of Anatolia. Which story, I know, no mean to go off track, but that was all because of Noah right there. Noah decided to roll lots or do lots and divided the land for Shem, Ham, and Japheth's descendants, which is interesting, but kind of proves my case right there because the land of Anatolia was given to Lud and his descendants. There is another person there are other descendants who lived near Anatolia, and then there's another descendant that lived in Anatolia, Tubal, which I theorize the Haitians or the Hashans are connected or genetically related to him, but That's a theory for another video. Who knows? Maybe the Hashians or the Haitians were a mix of Japheth and Shem's descendants, or Tubal. I'm going off topic. Sorry. But there was another descendant who lived in the land of Anatolia supposedly, and it was Tubal, who was one of Japheth's descendants. Theory about that one is Tubal, Lud's descendants mixed, and you got the Hashians or the Haitians that are talked about before the time of the Hittites, before the time of the Hittite Empire, or the time the Hittites entered the land. I know it's a lot of that's a lot of information to go off of in just a span of like however many minutes this is, but I don't know. I hope people can understand this. God help them to understand. Took me a while to understand. I was the one freaking doing it. I'm the one doing this video. But yeah, anyway. Things haven't been good on my end. A lot of things going on, but I don't want to get through this video just because I don't want to leave that other video unfinished, and I just don't want to leave it unfinished. That's the only thing I don't want to do, is just leave my other video unfinished. But the point in case, especially with the whole Ludian theory, how you get the genetic research, you get the historical reference, the Lud inhabiting Anatolia. Yeah, it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. Especially, again, genetic evidence, historical proof, knowledge, so forth and so on. It's crazy how that book knew that. Book of Jubilees, that's where I read about that. Inhabiting Anatolia. The description's far off, not far off. It's pretty much on point with it's on point with how it's described. Even with the other descendants, like Javan, who is known as the father of the Greeks. The land that's described to him is Greek, or it's Greece, which is it's interesting. And Ashur descendants who lived like right next to Anatolia. They were given the land, like east of where Anatolia was. I think it said it reached as far as India, which is interesting I don't think it mentioned. I don't know if it mentions India, but I think I remember something like that. Interesting how India existed. Well, it's not the interesting part that India existed. It's just the interesting part that India is mentioned before anything is known about it as a nation. What I mean by that is, like, you think the land of India wouldn't really have a name yet, but it was known as India, especially in the Book of Jubilees. I guess it goes to show, huh? Either way, I've kept this video going on long enough. It is interesting how Lud's descendants are associated with shooting a bow and arrow. And the Luwians, how they're related to the Trojans here and there. And then you get Prince Paris, who used bows and arrows. It's very interesting how that came to be. Or how that is, anyway. It's like the poetic references just make themselves, man. Either way, I've taken up a lot of time, maybe too much. Hopefully I can download this video to my phone and upload it to YouTube. And like I said, I just wanted to finish this series off because, well, I don't think I'm gonna do another video. Well, I'm not gonna do another video for a long time. I want to get back to my writing. I want to get through my stories here and there. But yeah. Anyway, it's been an emotional journey. Well, yeah, I think it should just stop. Either way, stop this video. I mean, my journey that keeps going no matter what. even if I want to quit. Heck of a thing, Either way. I think I already talked about it. I probably should have done notes for this video before doing it, but I just want to get through it because I don't know. Like I said, I just don't want to leave the other part unannounced. But either way, hope you guys found this video informative. Hope you guys enjoyed it for whatever it was or what it was. Like I said, I know there will be people refuting me, denouncing me, or maybe churchgoers calling me blasphemous for bringing up the Book of Jubilees, all that stuff. I don't care. Or Turkish nationalists saying this and that. Also, don't care. Yeah. Anyway, like I said, I hope you guys found this video informative. Hope it helped a lot with your guys' search, whatever you guys were searching for. Yeah. See you around.